So let's continue our journey on employee engagement. And this slide asks, well, how do we fix these very significant emergencies and challenges? And the three of us agree they are significant on all levels, right? Family, corporate, global. All right. So CLI has vehicles which help solve these emergencies permanently. And our secret is the science of mind kinetics. So let's talk about that. Mind kinetics is a science which opens the mind. And when you think about these global emergencies, we need to open our minds. We need to expand our minds, and empowers the client to receive new ideas, right, from their higher power and take action for permanent positive change. The planet needs permanent positive change right now. Families, corporate, global, we need it. As we said, the planet's on fire. We need to take action for permanent positive change. So Mind Kinetics, which was born in 1997, that was the beginning of its birth, is remarkable. It has helped people in many, many countries, 50 plus countries that I've worked in, has really changed culture, has changed families, and changed us individually. So I'd like to just talk about the 5 pillars that we offer organizations for incredible business success. And this is not just companies, this is government, okay? So let's look at these 5 pillars and how they can help with employee engagement. Number 1, we have Power Coaching with Mind Kinetics, a coach training program. So we can go into corporations and teach leaders how to help their employees raise their IQ and EQ. Because when we can raise our EQ, everyone in the organization, we can think faster, right? We are more compassionate, we're more kind, and more productive. And of course, the first thing that happens when we run leaders through our coach training program is the leaders are working on themselves. So any of those CEOs or directors who have high hubris and ego and don't have a good EQ, who are not compassionate and kind, or maybe they're very compassionate, but they don't know how to take action, right? So whatever their characteristics are, we measure it, by the way. We run them through a battery of assessments so we can, they can see and we can see what's really going on for each individual, and then we can really help them during the training program. But we really believe strongly that every corporation should have a coaching culture where they're helping each other. They're coaching each other using these very simple methodologies in the Mind Kinetics realm. It's powerful stuff. The next pillar is on long-term corporate programs. So these are usually 1 to 2 years, maybe more, leadership in action program that we do for, it's a long involved program. So it involves some consulting, it involves webinars, it involves some coaching, it involves some mentoring. There's a lot involved in that program. But the leaders that we've run through that leadership in action program, like one company in the oil and gas industry, for example, they were providing equipment, I think it was. And so they started out with senior management and middle management fighting against each other. They were blaming each other for what was going wrong in the company, right? So we started working with the middle management and then got the senior management involved. And what a massive turnaround in 9 months. We had to stop the program so that, because they had to hire another 25% more staff. That's pretty darn good, right? They were learning how to engage each other, which is so sweet. And then, of course, there's a train the trainer program as part of pillar number 2. Pillar number 3. This one is important. We have some very short 2 to 3 day programs for corporations and the public. Anybody can come. And I'll show you some of the names of those, the titles of those programs in a moment. I just want to give an overview of our 5 pillars. And then, of course, pillar number 4, executive coaching. This is where we coach one-on-one. We also can do group coaching here, which can be vital, but we don't do the group work until we get a lot of the anger and frustration out of the people at the top for each other, and for, you know, the anger they might have about their employees or for their customers or whatever, right? We get rid of that. But executive coaching one-on-one and group coaching is really important. And then pillar number 5 is on learning resources. We have many, many learning resources so that they can self-coach and they can self-develop. We have apps, for example, that will do that. Thebrainwalk.com is a perfect example where anyone in the organization can go into that website, and within 10 to 15 minutes, they can come up with a solution to their challenge or their goal. I mean, it simulates how Einstein used to think. So why wouldn't people want to do this, right? And it's free. We offer it free to the whole world to do. So, excuse me. I share with all of you that if you haven't tried some of CLI's self-coaching methodologies, you can go to coachingandleadership.com, and the apps are on the right-hand side, and do try them out.
And I have tried it out, Betska, and it is fantastic. It's fantastic. The Brain Walk, I believe I've done it now 5 times.
Oh, so wonderful. It's great, eh?
Yeah. It's fantastic because you can do it when you have time, when you have, you know, it only takes 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. So it's easy, but it really brings to the forefront what needs to come forth.
Mm-hmm.
And
out of the subconscious mind, right?
Exactly. And if I may, those 5 pillars, Betska, that you were describing, what stood out to me there, which I'd love to highlight, what really I am hearing here that I don't want the listeners to miss is that integrated approach. It's not singling out, it's not we're doing coaching with one person, right? And then this person will be wonderful and that's going to transfer all this change. That's not how it works. It's integrated. It's train the trainer. It's engaging each other. It's going through the hierarchies and the intricacies of the organization. And that is true in families too, right? It doesn't matter if you're looking at corporations, if you're looking at families, if you're looking at governments, it's all integrated. So we have to approach it in such a way, which I believe your programs are really designed that way in what you're speaking to. And the second part that stood out to me is that you said the anger about other leaders or employees or what they feel others are not doing right. And at the end of the day, we only have control over ourselves. So we have to take that responsibility and say, okay, perhaps it is not the other leaders, perhaps it is not the employees, and looking deep into what can we do to create that change, to create that transformation for the better. And that's where that coaching comes in. That's where these programs come in, and learning to work from that side of ourselves inside out.
Thank you. You know, when we work in corporations and government, the number one thing we see, and it has to do with communication that Raj was speaking about earlier, the judgments that we see are rampant in organizations. They judge each other, they blame each other. And once you stop that judgment and blame, and people start to respect each other, that's why that company was able to hire 25% more staff. The business was just flowing in so much. So it's typical, right? It's very typical.
And make no doubt about that, like the blaming and the judging and all of that doesn't improve the situation. And in fact, it puts the one that is blaming and judging almost into a victim state of, oh, I can't do anything about that because it's the person to the left, it's the person to the right, and the experiences that person might have. But at the end of the day, the goal is to transform and to create change, positive progress. And that can only come from within oneself.
Yes. You know, the word you used integrated is key to this discussion, because it is. And I know what you do, Marion, is, you go in and you do an assessment first, right? And so with our long-term programs in pillar number 2, someone like you would come in and do a full assessment of what's really going on, so that we know, which of these 5 pillars do we bring in, or which one do we start with, etc. So yeah, it's really critical.
Yeah, sharing an example with you that speaks to that. When I was overseeing a marketing division, we created a lot of change, a lot of positive change within the division, but the other divisions weren't keeping pace with that. And so in any corporation organization, you have departments interacting with each other, whether that is finance with marketing or with sales or any other function for that matter. So that is wonderful that we had this one division and this one area of the company, progressing in that direction. But if the other departments are not holding up to that, you're really not creating that lasting, sustainable change. And that became very clear that we needed to do an integrated approach into that to really have that change.
Exactly. Wonderful. Well, at least it started there, right? At least it started in one place. But it is. Yeah. And it is best to do top down. There's no question in my opinion, but I have stories of where we started at middle management, and then we invited the senior management to come in. Actually, they invited themselves because they could see that there was so much change happening. They wanted to be a part of it. So, sometimes you need to play with them to see, yeah. So yeah, this is CLI's integrated approach to employee engagement and incredible business success. So here is a key program philosophy for our work, that what a man learns is really what he discovers by taking the cover off his own soul, which is a mine of infinite knowledge. All knowledge that the world has ever received comes from the mind. The infinite library of the universe is in your own mind. This is so phenomenal, What I want everyone to hear today is that if you think that there are no solutions to your corporate challenges, let me tell you that they exist. And this, Raj, do you remember who this gentleman is? This picture of this guy, this wonderful saint.
Who?
The picture on the slide.
We don't see the slide.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Raj, can you make sure that I'm sharing my slides here?
Yeah, you can share.
Okay. Let me go back to here. I'm very sorry.
No issue.
Well, yeah, okay. Gosh, okay.
There it is.
I was wondering why. Okay, so I was talking about the 5 pillars. Now you can see them. Right? Now you can actually see them on the screen. So pillar 1, coach training. Pillar 2, long-term corporate programs. Pillar 3, Noble Life. These are short corporate programs where all employees can get involved and they love them. And then executive coaching, right, at the top level, and employee coaching if they need it. But we have other solutions for the employees. And column 5, learning resources. So this is CLI's integrated approach, the 5 pillars. So now I want to go back to the key program philosophy. This gentleman, do you remember who he is?
Yeah, he's a Swami Vivekananda.
That's right, Swami Vivekananda from India. I love his books. He was an incredible teacher.
Yeah, he was very intellectual.
Yes. And so, as I was saying, if you are a leader and you're watching this and you think, oh, we'll never fix the problems in my corporation, I'm telling you that you can. And we have the tools to do that. In fact, our team here, the 3 of us, have the tools to help you, because as Swami Vivekananda says, the infinite library of the universe is in your own mind. So we have the solutions inside of us because humans have a soul. And that soul is perfect. It has all the answers. So all we need to do, and we do it so beautifully because of all the research we've done here at CLI, we help you to connect with that intelligence. So I hope that makes you feel better. We help you connect with that intelligence. And in every single coaching session, in every single training session that we offer, we help you to connect with that library of knowledge. And so have faith, it can be done. And we've proved it over and over and over again for 20 some years. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that first pillar, the coach training. There are the different levels. I don't want to go over the different levels in detail, but I just want folks to know that we have 164 hours that have been approved by the International Coaching Federation, and then we have others that are not. So just for various reasons, but different levels. So a corporate leader can come to us and can study 45 hours, 150 hours, whatever they want. We really encourage HR and organizational development folks and the trainers in an organization to study the whole program, because there is so much to learn about human behavior. That's what this course does. It teaches us about how we are behaving, how others are behaving, and how do we engage employees to have the best behavior. That's what it's all about. And if we have coaches from other teams, other coaching schools, we really encourage you to come and learn, because of our ability to take a client into the subconscious mind. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But this is Clint, C-L-I-N-T. It's best that every leader become minimum of a certified power coach. So that's 150 hours to better understand human behavior. It's a business saver. When you think of, I've coached so many people with MBAs, PhDs, MDs, whatever, right? And they say to me, Betska, how come we never learned this in our formal education? I say, I don't know, go and ask your university. We should be teaching this at the university level. And in fact, some of these smaller methodologies, like the brain walk, we should be teaching in classrooms. Teach the children how to love themselves and others more. Is there anything more important at that age? No. So, we can even go into the classroom. So this is coach training. I want to talk about some of our key success factors of why it is so popular and why people love it and why we get such tremendous results, up to 900 or 1,000% change in a leader's competency. That's huge. So number one key success factor there on the left is that the client discovers unconstructive belief systems, the negative thinking that's in their subconscious mind, that's stopping them from being successful at work and in life. And then we replace them with positive ones in every single 90-minute session. We switch it. We make the switch from a negative to a positive. That's massive. Think of what that alone can do for a leader's life or for an employee's life. And in those other pillars where we get the employees engaged in, it could be time mastery, or it could be how to be innovative thinkers, that sort of thing. Those training programs, we get them to change their negative beliefs into positive ones as well. So because it's an integrated approach, everybody gets to work on themselves to increase their IQ and their EQ. The next point here is we have 80 plus coaching models, the largest program in the industry. No one else in the world has it. So different coaching methodologies. And I was coaching Marion the other day, and I forget what I used, but we have so many different methods, and we need them because every client is different. We have some methods for relationship building. We have some methods for engagement, methods for loving self, self-esteem. We have methods for innovative thinking. So many methods. They're quite remarkable, and that's why we won all those awards. And as I mentioned, we have 350 plus supervised coach training hours. We also offer 20+ leadership tools for mentoring on leadership competency mastery. These are tools that I've learned over the years as a corporate executive, and I had to develop them myself. I couldn't find them anywhere. And now we offer them to people. Everything from how to recognize and praise your staff, how to have better relationships, strategic planning, the 4 core competencies of a strategic thinker, and so on. And fast results, we guarantee you fast results and very high ROI, or else you get your money back. Problems are solved using the whole brain versus just the logical brain. Let's talk about that for a moment. Most of the time in corporations and government and families, we tend to use this logical left brain to solve them. We try to work things through logically. Well, guess what? That's not where the solutions are. The solutions are, they come from our ability to access our right brain and then go into our subconscious mind, which I'll talk about more at length in a moment, and then into our superconscious. So that's what I mean by whole brain thinking. We've created this global mess because we've been trying to solve it with our left hemisphere, with our left brain, just the logic. And logic doesn't work when you've got emotions in there, right? We have to tackle those emotions and the spirit of people and really bring them in to help them to be more honest, be more accepting of each other, more understanding of each other, and so on. The client feels emotionally safe with the coach. This is another key success factor. We teach our coaches how to be neutral and to not to judge. You know, I have clients who tell me all kinds of things, and it would be easy for me to say, "You absolute idiot, why are you doing that?" Right? But that's a judgment. So as coaches, we teach ourselves how to be neutral in every single coaching session and in all training sessions, because who are we to judge? Those people have their issues because they're learning something. They've attracted those challenges in their life because they need to learn something. So we help them find what their learning is, help them get rid of their judgments of self and others. And lastly, the methodologies are scientifically engineered to allow the coachee to think like a genius for brilliant, innovative solutions, just like Swami Vivekananda said. We have the solutions inside. We're simply going to help you pull them out. So these are the key success factors and why we have won so many awards, including from CEO Today magazine, who mentioned that I'm one of the top management consultants in the world for this reason. This is a very important slide. CLI's secret for both self and our clients is pentalateral thinking. So in any given session, coaching session, and also the books that we've written, etc., we teach people about what happens in the left brain, what happens in the right brain. And then we talk about accessing the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. You see, the subconscious mind is where all of our negative and positive beliefs and patterns are stored. They're there. In fact, 95 to 99% of our behaviors are operated by the subconscious mind. But they're subconscious, and we don't even know they're there. So that's why we do assessments. And then in every session, we can take the client into their subconscious mind to find exact root cause age of why they're acting the way they do. So for example, if a leader is having a lot of trouble with employee engagement, we will take him into his subconscious mind and find the exact age of when that problem began, the exact event of when that happened. And that's incredible, because then the leader can see, oh, so that's why I keep repeating that behavior. That's why I can't engage, because I saw my mom and dad fight at home. And because of their fighting, I shut down. And I don't know how to engage. You see? We help them find the problem and then switch it in every single session. And we switch it by not only through our very creative questioning, but through taking them into their superconscious mind. We have 40 different methodologies that we select from to take them into their superconscious. And this is where they stream in a symbol, an object, a color, feeling, sound, just like Einstein used to do. They stream it in, and that is their solution, and we help them decode it. It's theirs alone. If I was coaching another leader on employee engagement, they would get something different, maybe, usually, right? So it's it's for the individual client. So this type of pentalateral thinking, when I invented mind kinetics, I didn't know what to call this. I Googled and I couldn't find pentalateral thinking anywhere. So I had to give it a name. I named it myself. So what questions or comments do you have on this slide and the importance of using all 5 parts of the brain mind for problem solving?
Comments, if anything, Betska, and thank you for sharing this, because it is timely information. We are in a society and community and really a world where we try to solve everything with our intellectual mind. It's the logic, it's the skills. You brought up even the schools before, like how we're teaching our children, how we are, again, in corporations, how we're progressing in our careers. Almost everything is evolving around the skills, the knowledge, the conscious mind. And we forget, or we don't know, that there's so much power in that subconscious mind, but then also as we're practicing, really, I guess, tapping into even the superconscious mind, right? And it brings me back to what we discussed 10 minutes ago. The control is within us. The answer is within us. So now the question is, how do we unlock that? How do we change our beliefs? How do we change how we go about things? Because everything that we get served on a conscious mind is an experience from the past. So how can we create then the future and the corporations and the families and the governments that we're looking and that we're needing to create?
Yes. And that's where the science of mind kinetics comes in, because it took me years to develop it. And so in every single session, a leader comes and he says, I'm having problems with employee engagement. So we will find the root cause of it, when it started, what his negative beliefs are in the subconscious mind, right? He will know on a conscious level what his negative beliefs are, but the most important is to go into that subconscious. And then by taking the client into the superconscious mind for solutions, everything flips. Those negative beliefs become positive. And we always say you have to experience it to believe it, because it was shocking to me when you may remember, I don't know if I shared that all of these methods came from my meditation practice. I don't take any credit for them. They just came flying in. And so I started, putting them into human language and so on, into corporate language, and they just work miracles with people. So, and that's where those 5 pillars come in too, right, Marion? Because you talked about how integrated they were. If we can get executives to learn how to coach their people and coach themselves, that's number 1. And then we can do long-term programs, the leadership in action, for example, just for the leaders. And then we can get the employees working on themselves and helping each other. They learn tools to help each other. And then, of course, there's one-on-one and group coaching for executives. And then we have all these learning resources, that 5th pillar. So everything we've designed here at CLI is really to help a leader dramatically improve their employee engagement, and to love themselves more and build their EQ, build their IQ, and solve these problems. They don't need to sit with those problems. They don't need to leave their organizations, right?
And Betska, what I'm hearing you say is that there is this individual approach, and then there's the collective approach. And the individual is, we cannot help anybody unless we can help ourselves. We can get ourselves to a point where we increase that emotional intelligence and some of these skills that you shared with us here. And from there, it becomes then an integrated, collaborative approach. So where we can help each other. And it keeps popping into my mind, the whole airplane analogy, right? Put on your mask first. You can't help anybody if you're suffocating. So the same is true for corporations, governments, or families for that matter. When you are not doing well, or when you are not in a position to really elevate yourself, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to help anybody around you.
Oh, absolutely. Totally. Yes. Thank you so much for that. All right. So let's just study a bit more on the subconscious mind. The subconscious manages our affairs precisely the way it was programmed. But how do we know how it was programmed unless we go inside, right? We have to go into that subconscious mind to find out how it was programmed. And that's where mind kinetics comes in. It's so brilliant. We can find, help a client, a leader, find their, the root cause of why they're having trouble communicating with their staff. We can find the exact age in less than 5 seconds. 5 seconds, boom, you're in there. And then once we find the age, then we can find out what happened at that age and how did it get programmed in there, into those cells. And then if our subconscious was programmed with positive thoughts, we could be totally successful and healthy and happy. I hope everyone is hearing this. This is how we become more enlightened. We must program that subconscious mind with positive thoughts, not negative thoughts about ourselves, not negative thoughts about our employees or about our leaders, country leaders, or whatever. Flip, flip, flip. Take negative to positive. And power coaching with mind kinetics retrains the subconscious to be focused and positive. It's quite amazing. That's why we get such high ROI with our clients. And this one is important too. So a belief in our conscious mind must be congruent with that same belief in our subconscious mind. Only then can we move forward. And I like to use the example of a salesperson. Let's say, Raj, a company you're working with, they have salespeople, and you know, I've been employed to work with this salesperson, and he has said to his boss, I can sell 1 million rupees of this product this year. But the leader's a little skeptical. He's not sure if this guy can really sell 1 million rupees of the product. But we can take that salesperson into the subconscious mind to find out what his negative or positive thoughts are. And chances are in that subconscious, that salesperson at the subconscious level is saying, no, you don't believe you can sell 1 million rupees of this product this year. And then when we have a conversation, the salesperson is going to say, yes, I don't have faith in our customer service department. Our products are archaic, right? And I'm having trouble at home, you know, so I don't know if I can be happy enough to sell, etc. So we need to flip that negativity in that subconscious mind and to be congruent with the conscious mind. Because on a conscious level, he said, yeah, I can make it. I can sell 1 million. But the subconscious mind is saying, no, you cannot. You do not believe it. So this is why we say the beliefs in the conscious mind must be congruent with the subconscious mind. Make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. And I, if I may add to this or bring out what you were discussing here, it's when we hear, you know, positive thoughts, it's often easier said than done, right? Because it's also what we hear from around us at a very early age. And sometimes we're not even aware that that programming has happened, right? That could be our parents, our friends, our society, our communities that are, that we hear, and then we see ourselves as that is the truth. When really it's just that perception, it's that belief that we've had for so many years that it almost becomes second nature. And so that's where your work comes in to really change that. It's not, again, like, oh, I need to always think positive, right? It's like, let's really create awareness around what is holding us back, that may have not even been in your awareness that has happened. And so I think that that's where that work really makes a huge difference, because now you can free yourself from all of these predetermined notions of what is holding you back, really, in essence.
You know, you hit the key there when you use the word awareness. That's when we are doing this work, it's really about helping the leader to be more aware and help the employee be aware, right? We've had to, we've had organizations bring us in where the employees were blaming the leaders because one of the employees committed suicide. So now it was the leader's fault, right, that this employee committed suicide. So we had to bring everybody. We had a whole year-long program to really raise the frequency and the vibration and the IQ and EQ, and to eliminate all those judgments. And in the end, the employees realized that no, the leaders didn't create this suicide. It was everybody has their own, makes their own choices. We taught them the law of choice and so on. So it's awareness building, right? So huge. Thank you. So mind, body, and spirit coaching. Let's take a look at this, how important this is. This is for very advanced corporate work. The top piece there, it's about transforming of subconscious negative thoughts.
Yeah.
So mind, body, and spirit coaching. What is this? So the top part about the mind is transforming of subconscious negative thoughts, words, and actions that are sabotaging our success. Note that word, sabotaging our success, and then we want to turn them into positive ones. It's about clarity of thought and direction for a leader, and it's also about training to become a pentalateral thinker, someone who can, in every meeting, use the left brain, right brain, conscious, subconscious, superconscious. We've trained leaders to do that. Isn't that exciting? But no one teaches that, or very few teach it in universities, right? Let's look at the body. The discovery of subconscious sabotaging beliefs that are making us ill, and turn them into positive beliefs. So many leaders get sick. Why? Because they're not looking at those sabotaging beliefs. Cancer, for example, is an emotional disease. We better address that, right? And with a healthy body, we can spend more energy on thinking positively and creating a better world for our employees, for our children, for our families, for our communities, governments. I hope you're listening. And lastly, spirit. Spirit means different things to different people. Power coaching with Mind Kinetics assists clients in raising their spirit by becoming more loving, more compassionate towards self and others. So what a package, right? What a package when we can support people through mind, body, and spirit coaching. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay. So mind, body, and spirit coaching. What comments do you have or questions around this? It's such an important slide. It kind of says everything that we offer around employee engagement, right? So comments, questions?
Comments. I love what you do, Betska, because and the word that keeps coming back into my mind is integration. Our body, our mind, our spirit, it is all integrated, yet we are treating it as separate parts. We have whatever we have on a body part, physical part, we don't connect that necessarily with our mind or our spirit, for that matter.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And I believe this here is the key on so many levels, to start that integration within ourselves and as a society and community overall, or corporate or government or whatever entity we're talking about, because the same principles apply.
Yes. And you made me think about one of the things I will often ask leaders is, how much meditation do you do on a daily basis? And 99% of them say 0, right? So that engagement with self is missing. So the more we can engage in ourselves and do the work on ourselves, the more we can help others. It's, again, that law of service. The more I can love and service myself, the more I can love and serve others, right? It's a very important, it's the #1 leadership universal law that we teach in our programs. So yeah, very important. All right, let's move ahead. So we just finished that first pillar, which is on coach training. And I just want to cover a couple major important things on the long-term programs, leadership in action and train the trainer. And people often ask, well, how do your clients shift their behaviors and change their lives so quickly? What's the secret? Because it is quick. You know, I talked about, gave you several ideas already. Well, this is what the leader learns: how to change behavior permanently. Where are we taught how to do this? Do our parents teach us that? Do we learn how to do that in school, university? No, very rarely, right? We try and force people to change their behavior, but guess what? Forcing rarely works, right? So the leader learns how to change behavior permanently. They learn how quantum physics, cell biology, neuroscience, and CLI's own science of mind kinetics inspire positive action. See, all this research I've done on human behavior, I had to bring in pieces, knowledge from quantum physics, from cell biology, neuroscience, and then the whole science of mind kinetics was born. It's fascinating. You can read about it in my book, The God in Coaching, because it tells the whole story about how it evolved. Number 3, the scientific formula. This is what they learn. This is key. The scientific formula for turning negative beliefs into positive ones for forward action. This is so important. If you're sitting with negative beliefs about yourself and negative beliefs about your employees, you think they're all idiots. Well, what kind of forward action are you going to get? Not much, right? So they have to learn the formula, which we teach them. And of course, we've got award-winning tools for self-coaching. As Marion said, she's tried the Brain Walk. We also have the Selling Guru, which is an app on the Apple Store. We have values cards, etc. We have 15-minute videos that they can play so they can learn how to be a better coach. Excuse me. And leadership competency tools. So they learn a lot. They have to be dedicated to themselves. And some of you leaders may be saying, oh, I don't have enough time. I'm going to say you can't afford to not find the time, right? When you look at those employee engagement rates around the world, every country needs to improve. I sound pretty strong, don't I? I am just so passionate about this, and forgive me if I sound like I'm lecturing, but I've been doing this for so long, and I know the results that we get, and you know what? I want every leader to experience it so that they don't sit in their drama, So very quickly here, the key success factors of this program are that, again, they discover their unconstructive beliefs, their negative beliefs, and we kick them out. They learn communication tools, they learn how to self-coach, they learn how to coach each other and their employees. And then we measure their personal return on investment. We prove everything. So that's key. And the train the trainer, well, benefit to you. You bring these programs in-house, you're going to save time and money. I'd like to just talk briefly about this third pillar, the Noble Life Series, whether 2 or 3 day programs or 7 webinars at 2 hours each. We have an amazing program on Leader as Power Coach. I just love this. We even teach them mindfulness methods, and how to, we teach them 1 or 2 simple coaching methodologies, and then they learn how to coach their teams. It's a brilliant model. And then we have several others on sales excellence, complex situations in the workplace, how to prevent them. This is a key one. Innovative thinking, team building, positive thinking, and time mastery. So we don't just only work with the leaders. We want the employees to get engaged by learning these methodologies. They learn how to change their own behaviors and how to help each other. It's so loving to see these employees who used to hate each other, helping each other and becoming best friends. I mean, how cool is that? And then, sorry, Marion, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like beyond cool, because here we are when we are engaged as employees, we enjoy our jobs, we are motivated, we're performing, the company is creating results, we take that excitement home. And what I'm saying probably sounds to many employees like, yeah, in what world does that happen, right? When we're looking at that employee engagement at the very beginning of your presentation, but that is possible. And that ripple effect that has on life, on societies, on communities cannot be underestimated.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that back, because if you have a happy employee, if you're helping the employees at work, they're also going to be happier at home. They're going to take that energy, right? And the knowledge that they've learned. And we also have programs for families. I'm not talking about that here, but some beautiful programs for whole families where the teenagers can come and mom and dad and bring your grandparents, whatever, and to really bring the love back into families. It's an aside from this corporate work, but I just love that work as well. It's very positive, makes me happy. Okay.
Makes me happy just hearing it.
That's wonderful. Now, that fourth pillar on executive coaching, as I mentioned, we have proven ROI up to 900. Actually, it's now up to 1,000% change in a leader's competency levels. We even help them get rid of their addictions, if they have addictions, because there's a lot of that, drug addiction, pharmaceutical addiction, alcohol addiction, it's running rampant in corporations. So we need to, what happens with those addictions is they control our mind versus we having control of our own mind. So it's important to get rid of that. And even people who've been through therapy, right? They have not been able to get rid of those addictions. They come to us, and usually the addictions can switch, some easily and some not so easily, because depending on how deep that addiction is. I'm just giving you the wide range. We help people with their time mastery, with their strategic planning, recognition and praise, judgments, etc. But we also work on that personal level to help them with their issues inside self and home. And our certified executive power coach students are also given 20+ leadership tools with which to mentor their leaders. And this is really important, because leaders not only come to us for coaching, where we help them come up with their own solutions, but oftentimes they need help on, well, how do I engage my staff? How do I better communicate, right? How do I build my team? Well, we have all those tools. We've developed them over the years, and we give it to the leaders free of charge when we are coaching them one-on-one. And this slide, I'm not going to spend time on, but just some examples of the phenomenal ROI that we get. If someone was really domineering in the beginning, we've changed it. They have a 600% change. We teach them how to WAIT. Why am I talking? We invite them to stop talking and listening, right? Look at some of the changes that have happened. They become more self-assured. I've learned that people who are really aggressive and gregarious and domineering in the workplace, they are the ones who usually have the lowest self-confidence. Interesting, right? They are aggressive because they're not self-assured. If they were self-assured, they wouldn't be aggressive. You see what I'm saying? So we really help them to change their behaviors, become more influential, and the list goes on. And then the last pillar I want to talk about are all of our learning resources. We have so many apps. The Brainwalk is in a paper version. It's also online, free of charge. We have different tool games. We have assessments. We have many books. Self-learning, as I mentioned, these 15-minute modules. So daily self-coaching with the Brainwalk creates genius thinkers. So we really encourage everyone to go to thebrainwalk.com and try it. So over the years, we've realized that corporations and government need to give their employees and their leaders learning resources where they can learn on their own and help themselves, right? Because Marion, you said leaders have too much pressure on them. Well, we can take that pressure off of them by helping their employees, run their employees through some training programs where they can learn how to help themselves, and also by adopting some of these learning resources. Way too many to talk about here. Look at the picture. So many, including those assessment tools and books on building a booming business and There's so many. So there you have it. These are CLI's 5 pillars for incredible business success. Again, pillar 1 is coach training, using power coaching with mind kinetics. Every leader should learn how to coach themselves and coach their employees. Very important. Learn how to ask the right questions. Pillar number 2 was long-term corporate contracts. We love going in to do these. These are perfect for leadership in action. Let's really get this leadership going to dramatically raise employee engagement. Pillar 3 was these short programs that we can bring into the employees and the leaders. The leaders love those too. And then pillar 4 was that executive coaching one-on-one, absolutely critical. Let's help those leaders raise their IQ and their EQ, get rid of their egos, really help build their self-esteem and help them tap into their genius, that incredible mind that's there that perhaps they could benefit from. And then column 5 was learning resources, as I just mentioned. So we have a very vast program. And what I would like to suggest is for those people who are listening, if they would like a free copy of The God in Coaching, The Key to a Happy Life, which is my latest book, I'm very happy to send them a free copy. And if they want a hard copy, all they have to pay for is the shipping. So it's considered, Ray Carr, who is the watchdog of the coaching and mentoring industry, said it's probably the most revolutionary and effective model of coaching to be developed in the last 10 years. Dr. Will Tuttle, #1 Amazon bestseller, he said, to me, The God in Coaching is a Bible for actualizing our human potential. Wow, such great testimonials. And they bring you peace. This book will bring you peace. I promise you.
Beautiful.
So in all these different languages, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And Marion and Raj, what final questions or comments do you have about my presentation and how we can bring employee engagement to our corporations and government?
Wow. Thank you so much, Betska. I would love to hear the listeners with their experiences and their questions and maybe hurdles or challenges that you and us collectively, that we can help break through and provide guidance. I would love to see that in the comments.
Wonderful. So we invite those in. Thank you. I'll just stop my sharing now. And yeah, so thank you for bearing with me today. It was a long presentation, but I tried to cut it short, and I believe it gave you and it gave our video audience an opportunity to really understand an integrated approach to employee engagement, and that the world clearly needs it. Yes, and families.
Absolutely. Thanks, Betska.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybach music. Can anybody out there